The great halls of the Galactic Council echoed with deliberate silence as the holographic projection of a dying world rotated before them. Zethra Prime, once a beacon of artistic achievement and philosophical wisdom, now burned with emerald flames that consumed its crystal forests and iridescent cities. The Zetherans, with their liquid silver skin and voices that could weave light into living art, were dying. Commander Jackson Rhodes of the Earth vessel Prometheus stood before his tactical display, his scarred hands clenching as he watched the emergency broadcast repeat for the 100th time. The Zethrans' plea, translated through the ship's AI, carried a desperation that transcended species. We beg the galaxy's mercy. Our world burns. Our children crystallize in their sleep. Someone, anyone, we have so much yet to teach the universe. Incoming transmission from Galactic Central, announced Communications Officer Nadia Volkov, her cybernetic interface pulsing with incoming data. They've formally denied the Zethran petition for aid. Reason cited: insufficient strategic value to justify intervention costs. The bridge fell silent. Through their view screen, they could see the massive ships of the various council races already moving away from Zethra Prime, their engines flaring as they abandoned a civilization to its fate. They are leaving them to die, whispered Chief Medical Officer Jun Takashi, his augmented eyes scanning the biological data streaming in. The pathogen, it's turning their biological mercury into crystal. Their entire species will be glass statues within a month. Rhodes turned to his second-in-command, Colonel Maria Hernandez. The council's vote. Unanimous, she replied, disgust evident in her voice. Even the Aldebaran collective abstained, and they are usually the bleeding hearts. Authority has been granted to the merchant princes to reclaim the planet's resources once their natural extinction event concludes. Natural. Rhodes's voice cut through the air like a plasma blade. Show me those scan results again. The holographic display shifted, revealing molecular structures that twisted in ways nature never intended. This was no accident. No random plague. Someone had engineered this apocalypse, and the council knew it. Sir, Tactical Officer Wei Zhang interrupted, I'm detecting energy signatures consistent with Merchant Prince Harvest ships entering the system. They are not even waiting for. His voice trailed off. Rhodes stood straighter, his expression hardening into something that had earned him the nickname Steel Eyes during the Maz liberation. Send an emergency burst transmission to Earth Command. Full encryption. Message begins, have confirmed ongoing genocide masked as natural extinction. Council complicit. Merchant princes implementing resource grab. Requesting implementation of Protocol Prometheus. The bridge crew stiffened. Protocol Prometheus was Earth's answer to genocide, a declaration that humanity would not stand idle while civilization burned. Sir, Hernandez cautioned, implementing Prometheus would mean war. Rhodes finished. Yes. Because humanity remembers. We remember when our own nations watched genocide unfold and did nothing. We remember the price of silence. He turned to his crew. The galaxy wants to ignore their cry? Fine. We'll answer with fire. The Prometheus's engines flared to life, its massive form moving to position itself between the dying world and the approaching Harvest fleet. Throughout the ship, weapon systems powered up, shields harmonized, and medical bays prepared for casualties. All hands, Rhodes's voice echoed through the ship, this is your commander. The galaxy has chosen to watch another civilization die. They've forgotten that every species has something to teach, something to give to the cosmic symphony. But humanity remembers. We remember the cost of turning away. And we remember how to fight. As the first Merchant Prince ships appeared from hyperspace, they found not a defenseless dying world, but a human warship in full battle stance. And behind it, emerging from faster-than-light travel like avenging angels, came the first wave of the Earth Defense Fleet. The universe had ignored the cry of the dying. Now it would hear humanity's answer, delivered in a language older than civilization itself, the roar of defiance, the thunder of justice, and the promise that while mankind drew breath, never again would the powerful simply watch the weak perish. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's symbol was a phoenix rising from flames. Because sometimes, the only answer to cosmic silence is human fire. The first shots of humanity's war against galactic indifference weren't fired from gun batteries or missile tubes. They came from the determined hands of Chief Medical Officer Jun Takashi as he plunged a crystalline syringe into the liquid silver skin of a dying Zethran child. "Hold position," he ordered, his augmented eyes tracking the spreading reaction. Around him, the makeshift medical bay aboard the Prometheus hummed with desperate activity. Dozens of human medical staff worked alongside the few remaining Zethran healers, their shadows dancing across walls of living crystal. "Vitals stabilizing," reported Dr. Amara Okafor, her dark hands moving swiftly across holographic controls. "The nanite treatment is slowing the crystallization process, but it's not stopping it completely." Commander Rhodes stood at the observation window, watching the medical drama unfold. Behind him, Colonel Hernandez delivered the latest update from the growing standoff in orbit. "3 more Merchant Prince capital ships have entered the system," she reported. "They are maintaining distance but charging weapons. The Earth Defense Fleet is responding in kind. Admiral Chen says we're 20 minutes from our first engagement." Rhodes nodded, his attention fixed on the medical bay. "An Earth Command. Full backing. They've officially invoked the Phoenix Protocols. Every human colony world is mobilizing. The message is clear, we're not backing down." Through their window, they watched as Takashi's patient began to glow with a soft silver light, the first sign of normal Zethran biological function they'd seen since arriving. A small victory, but one that proved their enemy's weapon wasn't invincible. "Sir," Communications Officer Volkov's voice crackled through the comm, "incoming transmission from the Merchant Prince flagship. Text only. They are claiming we're in violation of galactic salvage laws." "Salvage laws?" Rhodes's voice could have frozen plasma. "They are classifying a living civilization as salvage." "That's not all," Volkov continued. "They've transmitted proof of legal ownership. The Council already sold the mining rights to this system 3 days ago. Before they even voted on the Zethran plea for help. The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. This wasn't just callous indifference, it was premeditated genocide for profit. The Council hadn't just ignored the Zetharans' cry, they'd sold tickets to watch them die. In the medical bay, Takashi's voice suddenly rose with excitement. "Commander! We've found something. The pathogen, it's not just engineered. It's branded." Rhodes rushed to the observation window. "Branded?" "Yes, sir. At the molecular level. These plague nanites carry a maker's mark. They are property of the Alios Consortium, a subsidiary of the Merchant Princes," Rhodes finished, his voice deadly quiet. "They engineered the plague, then bought the rights to salvage their own victims." The bridge erupted in a storm of cursing in a dozen Earth languages. This wasn't just murder, it was corporate efficiency taken to its most horrific extreme. "New contact." Tactical Officer Zhang's voice cut through the chaos. "Massive quantum wake. Something big is coming through. Sir, it's the Merchant Prince Supreme Command ship. Their eternal prophet, herself." Rhodes straightened his uniform, his eyes reflecting the crystal fires burning across Zethara's surface. "Patch me through to Admiral Chen. Tell her humanity just found its casus belli." He turned to his crew, his voice carrying the weight of history. 2 centuries ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself in corporate wars. We learned the hard way that profit without conscience leads to atrocity. We swore we'd never let it happen again. He activated the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is your commander. What we've discovered here isn't just murder, it's the future the galaxy faces if no one takes a stand. The Council sold their souls for credits. The Merchant Princes built a business model on genocide. And humanity." He paused, letting the weight of the moment sink in. "Humanity remembers the cost of silence." In the medical bay, another Zethran child began to glow with renewed life. Above, the Earth Defense Fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons charged and targeting systems locked. Humanity had warned the galaxy once. Now they would teach their lesson with fire and light. The Eternal Prophet emerged from quantum space like a mechanical leviathan, its golden hull reflecting the light of Zethra's dying sun. Its very name was a mockery of the suffering below. But as Rhodes gave the order to battle stations, he knew they were about to teach the galaxy a very different lesson about profit and loss. Sometimes, the most valuable things in the universe couldn't be measured in credits. Sometimes, they could only be measured in the live.
Space erupted in a symphony of destruction as the first salvos between humanity and the merchant princes lit up Zethra's orbit. The Prometheus shuddered under enemy fire, its advanced shields flaring brilliant blue against the golden beams from the Eternal Prophet's weapon arrays. Multiple impacts on decks 3 through 7. Tactical Officer Jean reported, his hands dancing across holographic controls. Shields holding at 60%. Enemy vessels moving to surround us. Commander Rhodes stood at the center of his bridge, a rock of calm in the storm of battle. Status of the medical evacuation? Dr. Takashi reports 40% of critical patients transferred to Earth Fleet medical ships, Colonel Hernandez answered, her voice steady despite the chaos. But the merchant princes are targeting our medical shuttles now. Those bastards really don't want any witnesses surviving. The tactical display showed the full scope of the battle. 12 Earth Defense Fleet vessels engaged against 28 merchant prince capital ships. On paper, it was a hopeless fight. But humanity hadn't come unprepared. Execute Operation Firebreak, Rhodes commanded. All ships, implement Ghost Protocol. Across the human fleet, revolutionary technology activated. Technology the galaxy didn't know humanity possessed. The quantum stealth systems, developed in secret over decades, engaged. To the enemy's sensors, the human ship seemed to fragment, each vessel appearing to split into multiple ghost images. They're confused, Jean reported with grim satisfaction. Their targeting systems can't distinguish real ships from quantum echoes. The Eternal Prophet's response was predictably brutal. Unable to target effectively, they simply saturated space with weapon fire. Golden beams carved through the void, most hitting nothing but vacuum. They're desperate, Rhodes observed. And desperate people make mistakes. Colonel Hernandez, signal the fleet. Execute attack pattern Phoenix. The human vessels moved with practiced precision, their formation shifting into an ancient Earth symbol, a bird of flame rising from destruction. It was more than tactics, it was a message to the galaxy. Humanity had risen from its own ashes before. They knew the price of rebirth through fire. In the medical bay, Dr. Takashi and his team worked feverishly as the ship rocked around them. Another stabilization success, he reported through the comm. The counteragent is working. We can save them, Commander. We just need time. Time was the one thing the merchant princes wouldn't give. The Eternal Prophet's massive form moved through space like a predator, its golden hull now marred by weapon impacts. Its commander's voice, when it came through the communications system, dripped with contempt. You primitive humans, the creature known as High Merchant Vexthor sneered. You think your interference matters? We own this galaxy. We own the Council. Your defiance is nothing but the last gasp of a species that doesn't understand its place. Rhodes's response was calm, measured, and carried the weight of humanity's determination. Our place? Let me tell you about humanity's place, High Merchant. We were born in fire. Evolved in it. Every time the universe tried to extinguish us, we burned brighter. As if to punctuate his words, the first phase of Operation Firebreak reached fruition. Quantum mines, secretly deployed during the fleet's ghost-splitting maneuver, detonated in precise sequence. The carefully orchestrated explosions created a lattice of quantum disruption fields, trapping half the merchant prince fleet in bubbles of distorted spacetime. You built your empire on genocide, Rhodes continued, his voice carrying to every ship in the battle. Calculated the profit margins on mass murder. Thought you could reduce lives to numbers on a ledger. But you forgot something crucial about humanity. The Earth Defense Fleet moved as one, their weapons targeting the now isolated Eternal Prophet. The massive vessel's golden hull reflected the light of dozens of charging weapon systems. We remember our history, Rhodes's voice carried the thunder of approaching judgment. We remember how many times profit was used to justify atrocity. How many times good people stayed silent because speaking up was bad for business. We remember the death camps, the slave ships, the corporate wars. We remember every time someone decided that lives were worth less than credits. The eternal prophet's shields flared as the first coordinated barrage hit. Inside the medical bay, another Zetheran child began to glow with renewed life, their silver skin shimmering with restored vitality. And we remember our promise, Rhodes concluded. Never again. Not on Earth. Not on Mars. Not anywhere we can reach. The galaxy ignored their cry for help? His hand raised, signaling the final attack order. Then let the galaxy watch how humanity answers with fire. The space around Zethra Prime erupted in a conflagration that would be visible for light years. The Earth Defense Fleet struck as one, their weapons carrying humanity's response to cosmic indifference. It wasn't just a battle, it was a declaration. A promise written in light and fire that would echo across the stars. The age of silence in the face of atrocity was over. Humanity had answered the cry. And their answer would change the galaxy forever. The wreckage of the Eternal Prophet drifted through space like a broken crown, its once golden hull now a testament to humanity's fury. But aboard the Prometheus, victory brought no celebration. There was too much work to be done. Quantum decryption complete, Communications Officer Volkov announced, her cybernetic interface pulsing as it processed the massive data dump from the Merchant Prince's flagship. Sir, this goes deeper than we imagined. The Zethra genocide wasn't an isolated incident. Commander Rhodes stood before the holographic display, watching as decades of corporate atrocities unveiled themselves. Star systems marked for economic cleansing. Species evaluated and found wanting. Entire civilizations reduced to resource extraction opportunities. How many? His question cut through the stunned silence on the bridge. 23 species in the past decade alone, Colonel Hernandez answered, her voice tight with controlled rage. All declared economically non-viable by the Council. All suffering mysterious plagues or natural disasters. All their worlds now owned by Merchant Prince shell companies. In the medical bay below, the contrast to this industrial horror played out in scenes of hope. Dr. Takashi's team had cracked the plague's core mechanism. The Zethran children were recovering, their liquid silver skin regaining its natural luminescence. Their sung language, once fading to silence, again filled the crystal chambers with haunting melody. New transmission from Earth Command, Volkov reported. Priority 1. They're declaring the formation of the Terra Protectorate. The bridge crew straightened. This wasn't just a military response anymore. This was humanity drawing a line in the cosmic sand. Play it, Rhodes ordered. The holographic form of Earth Fleet Admiral Yoshida materialized on the bridge. Her aged face carried the weight of determination that had defined humanity's rise from its own ashes. To all ships of the Earth Defense Fleet, and to all species who hear this message, she began. Humanity has discovered evidence of systematic genocide perpetrated for corporate profit, sanctioned by the Galactic Council's silence. As of this moment, Earth declares the formation of the Terra Protectorate, a coalition dedicated to defending species targeted for economic extinction. She paused, her next words carrying the force of steel. To the Merchant Princes and their council allies, your time of unopposed tyranny is over. To any species facing extinction, humanity extends its shield. To the galaxy at large, watch and remember this moment. The silence of the powerful will no longer condemn the vulnerable to death. As if in answer, a new signal cut through space, a transmission from the surface of Zethra Prime. The recovered Zetherans, their voices strong again, began to sing. But this wasn't their traditional song language. They sang in Earth Standard, a melody that brought tears to human eyes. From the ashes of silence rose the flames of the free. When the stars turned away, Earth's children crossed the sea. Through the dark between stars came the fire of the just. When the mighty stayed silent, in humanity we trust. The song spread across subspace channels, picked up and rebroadcast by ships and stations across the sector. And with it came other signals, distress calls long ignored, pleas for help from species facing their own engineered extinction events. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Tactical Officer Zhang announced. Ships dropping out of FTL. Sir, they're survivors. Representatives from other species targeted by the merchant princes. They're requesting asylum under the Terra Protectorate. Rhodes watched as the tactical display filled with new contacts. Ships of all sizes and configurations, carrying the remnants of species who refused to die quietly. The galaxies condemned, drawn to humanity's fire like moths to a flame. Colonel Hernandez, Rhodes's voice carried the beginning of a new era, prepare to receive refugees. Dr. Takashi, coordinate with Earth Medical Command, will need plague protocols for multiple species. Officer Zhang, maintain defensive screen. The merchant princes won't take this lying down. In the crystal cities below, the Zethran children began to teach their human saviors their art of light weaving. Their silver hands guided human fingers through the process of turning photons into living sculptures, each one telling the story of the day humanity answered their cry with fire. But in the dark between stars, the merchant princes were rallying their full might. The council chambers echoed with demands for humanity's punishment. The galaxy's power brokers saw their monopoly on justice slipping away, and their response would shake the foundations of space itself. Humanity had answered genocide with fire. Now they would have to prove they could keep that fire burning bright enough to light the way for all who sought refuge in its glow. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, with its towering spires of impossible geometry, had never seen anything like this. On one side stood the combined might of the merchant princes and their council allies, their representatives resplendent in robes woven from starlight. On the other, Commander Rhodes and the human delegation stood in simple Earth Defense Fleet uniforms, backed by representatives of 23 species saved from extinction. You stand accused of violating galactic law, High Counselor Vexthra boomed, his crystalline form pulsing with barely contained rage. Of interfering with authorized resource reclamation. Of disrupting the natural order of. Natural order? The interruption came not from Rhodes, but from a Zethran child. Young Lyra, her silver skin now healthy and gleaming, stepped forward. In her hands, she held a sphere of pure light, a record of everything her people had endured. Is this your natural order? The sphere expanded, filling the chamber with images of engineered plagues, of civilizations dying while bureaucrats debated profit margins. Is this your justice? The council chamber erupted in chaos as more evidence poured forth. The quantum data stolen from the Eternal Prophet played alongside testimony from a dozen species. Each told the same story, of calculated extinction, of calls for help met with silence, of worlds stripped bare once their inhabitants had been reduced to acceptable losses on a corporate ledger. Enough. Vexthra's voice shattered crystal glasses throughout the chamber. These proceedings are invalid. The Council's authority. The Council's authority is built on genocide, Rhodes stated, his quiet voice somehow carrying more weight than Vexthra's thunderous protests. Humanity didn't come here for your permission. We came to tell you how things will be from now on. Admiral Yoshida stepped forward, her Earth Fleet uniform adorned with a single new symbol, a phoenix rising from flames, surrounded by stars. As of this moment, the Terra Protectorate extends its shield to any species facing extinction. Our fleets will answer any cry for help. Our medical ships will challenge any plague. Our fire will answer any silence. You cannot do this. A merchant prince representative raised a jeweled hand in protest. The economic implications alone. Watch us. The new voice came from Dr. Takashi, who stood with his medical team. Humanity remembers when profit was used to justify atrocity. We remember the death camps, the slave ships, the corporate wars. We burned our own world nearly to ash learning these lessons. We will not watch them repeated among the stars. As if on cue, quantum alerts lit up throughout the chamber. On every major trading world, in every corporate haven, Earth Defense Fleet ships emerged from stealth. Not a threat, a promise. The age of silence is over, Rhodes declared. The Terra Protectorate offers membership to any species who would stand with us. Who would choose life over profit? Justice over convenience? Fire over silence? The chamber erupted again, but this time with something new: hope. Representatives from 100 worlds, who had watched in fearful silence as the merchant princes grew in power, stood one by one. The quantum network blazed with declarations of support, with pledges of alliance, with promises of aid. In orbit above, the combined fleet of the newborn Terra Protectorate hung like a constellation of defiance. Ships of every design and origin, united under the Phoenix banner. Humanity had not just answered a cry with fire, they had lit a flame that would burn away centuries of calculated cruelty. This is not the end, Vexthra warned, his crystalline form darkening with rage. No, Rhodes agreed. This is a beginning. Humanity has walked through fire before. We've burned and risen and burned again. Now we light the way for others. He turned to face the assembled species, his voice carrying the weight of Earth's long, hard journey from its own ashes. The galaxy's silence ends today. Its fire begins. In the years that followed, that fire would spread from star to star. The Terra Protectorate would grow into something the galaxy had never seen, an alliance built not on profit or power, but on the simple promise that no cry for help would go unanswered. That no species would face extinction alone. That wherever the powerful chose silence, humanity would answer with fire. And in the crystal cities of Zethra Prime, where children once again sang to the stars, they added a new verse to their ancient songs. A verse about the day their cry pierced the universe's cold silence. The day Earth's children proved that sometimes, the hottest fires burn not for destruction, but for justice. Not for profit, but for life itself. The galaxy had forgotten mercy. Humanity had reminded it with flame. And in the light of that flame, a new dawn rose across the stars.